Man, what do you do when a company you have a ton of respect for makes a huge mistake? Well, you set up your camera and just scream into it. Now guys, Zenith may have made a huge, unforgivable mistake, and I'm almost hesitant to use the word mistake, because how does someone do this unintentionally, okay? How does this fall through the cracks at Zenith? I don't know. A bunch of people work there, a bunch of people work for their marketing and for their media, so what is going on? I'm sure a bunch of you don't know what I'm talking about, but here's the deal, okay? There's been either a massive oversight at Zenith, or Zenith is just flagrantly false advertising. So we're gonna go over all of this on today's T3 Watch Rant. It's 2:50 p.m. Let's get down to business. So guys, right off the bat, I want to thank my good friend Merrick from Watch Rotation, that's his new podcast, on breaking this story, okay? He's the first one to really bring any attention to any of this, and I've had the pleasure of talking to him about this, and he gave me the green light to mention it on my channel. Now, he's someone that's been part of my watch fam, for a good long while. He's a great guy. He takes very good pictures. He knows a whole lot about watches, and he has a very cool collection. Now, here's his Instagram. We're gonna put it very small so that, you know, he doesn't steal any of my viewers. You know what? Make it smaller. I'm kidding, guys. He's the man, and yeah, he deserves some more viewership and some more listening on his podcast, because he really does know his stuff. So he has a brand new podcast, The Watch Rotation. I've been listening to it on Spotify, but I'm sure you can listen to it at a bunch of other places. So Merrick, thank you for this story, and yeah, I don't want to get it twisted, okay? I really do have a ton of respect for Zenith, and that's what makes this way worse. Okay, so a lot of you guys should be fairly familiar with the Zenith Defy. It's a pretty high-tech, sharp watch by Zenith. Let's see, 41 millimeters, brushed titanium, Elite 670 SK automatic movement, vibrating at 28,800 BPH with a 100-meter water resistance rating. Again, just a very sharp watch, very, very sporty, very futuristic. Now, there's a few different variants of the Zenith Defy, but the one I want to focus on today is the Zenith Defy Classic Skeleton Ceramic. Now, this has pretty much the same spec sheet as the other Zenith Defy I just mentioned, but this one has a black ceramic case with a skeletonized dial. Pretty straightforward. Now, when you go to Zenith's website, you'll see a rendering of the watch in question. Now, a lot of watch manufacturers do this. They don't have a ton of photography of their watches, but often they'll have renderings of the watch. So guys, I'm gonna go ahead and have Gato show you what I'm looking at so we can all be on the same page, literally. So okay, you'll see that this Zenith Defy has a brushed bezel in contrast with the case and lugs matte finish. Okay, that's very important. Take a good look. And again, Zenith doesn't have a ton of actual photos of this watch on their website. It's mostly just renderings. And again, just like other watch manufacturers, Zenith relies on media outlets to kind of build hype for their new products. So let's be honest, Zenith knows that no one's going to their website to look at pictures of their products. They understand that the majority of people going to Zenith's website have already seen their watches elsewhere. You know, other websites, social media. These companies rely on people to do write-ups, reviews, take really nice photography, and again, build hype for these watches. That's not uncommon at all, and I'm not dinging Zenith for that. And I'm sure you guys really resonate with that, okay? I, as a consumer, rely on other people's write-ups, other people's reviews, other people's photography to kind of gauge whether or not I'm even interested in looking at a product in person or ordering a product from a website. Now, in the watch world specifically, there are sites like Hodinkee, Monochrome Watches, Worn and Wound, A Blog to Watch, or perhaps one of the best, most frequented online resources for everything watch related, the Time Teller channel. Now again, these various websites are able to get their hands on a multitude of watches, spend some time with them, build opinions, do write-ups, take nice photos, and sometimes video footage of these various watches. And what happens to all of this content? Well, this content gets shared to potential consumers, right? So okay, we're all on the same page. We understand that media outlets, watch reviewers get sent media watches to review. But what happens when these media watches are very different than the ones you as the consumer end up buying? What happens when the watches that these websites, these YouTube channels sometimes take pictures of, take videos of? What happens when those watches aren't the watches you end up with when you've spent your hard-earned money on it? Again, what happens when you yourself end up receiving a different watch than the watch that was reviewed? Because again, oftentimes you formulated your opinion on that watch you bought thanks to various media outlets. Like guys, I'm not oblivious to this. I understand that my opinion is valuable, so just like anyone else's. But again, I'm thankful that you guys come to me and I'm able to review certain watches for you guys. I don't take that lightly. And again, I'm very lucky and I'm so thankful that you guys actually value anything I say or do here. But take a look at these photos, okay? Now I'm gonna have Gato zoom in here, enhance, enhance, enhance. So in these media photos that we are looking at together, you can see beautiful grains from brushed finishing, not only on the bezel, but also on the case and the lugs. Now, these photos were sent to me by Merrick, but of course, you can find these photos yourself from these various media outlets, more specifically Monochrome Watches and Hodinkee. Now, I'm not saying that Hodinkee or Monochrome Watches did anything wrong whatsoever, because again, they were taking photos and writing reviews of the watches that were sent to them. So again, these photos that were taken by these media outlets of these media watches, they're very, very different from the actual watches that people ended up receiving. Let's go ahead and take a look at those photos. Now, okay, you guys can see some of these photos. I'm looking at them right here. You can see the only component on this watch that retains that really nice brushed finish is the bezel. The case and lugs seem to have, again, a very blatant lack of detailing. It's almost matte or like bead blasted. Now, being somewhat of a watch reviewer myself, no big deal. I understand that it's not uncommon to be sent prototypes of watches, okay? That happens all the time. And again, it's not uncommon for these prototypes to differ slightly from the actual production models. The only thing is that when you're reviewing those, again, you want to disclose that this is a prototype and this is going to be different than the actual watch you might buy. Because again, your audience, they're potential consumers. Also, in my experience reviewing these products, it's more common that prototypes are a bit more rough around the edges. They have a bit less detailing than the actual production models. It's not very common that the prototypes look nicer than the actual things that end up getting produced. There's absolutely no excuse for any prototype or any media sample to look nicer than the actual product your consumer may receive. That is just not cool. So again, guys, I'm very disappointed in Zenith for this. It's very misleading, and again, I don't know how you do this unintentionally. Zenith has a huge media team, marketing team. I'm sure Zenith has a ton of people working there. How do they not realize that the watches that they've sent out as samples to very prominent media outlets are very different from the watches that they're actually producing and selling to consumers? That's just bonkers. I don't understand it. So Zenith, I'm a big fan of them. I'm kind of very confused right now how this would happen, but I'd love to hear from them. So hopefully maybe they see this and they can clarify things. That would be great. And again, I think I should clarify. I'm not a big enough fish in the watch world yet to have Zenith even paying attention to me or sending me their media samples. I'd love to have that happen in the future. But if we can all stick together and maybe get some attention from Zenith, again, they can clear things up and let us know what's going on, because it's kind of a huge bummer to have Monochrome Watches, Hodinkee, other huge horological media outlets reviewing a watch that looks like it has enormous amounts of detailing, huge brushed grains on the bezel and the case and the lugs, and then when someone buys it, they realize it's just the bezel. What? So guys, listen, at the end of the day, Zenith should take this as kind of a positive thing, right? It means a lot of people really do value the things that Zenith puts out. People are paying attention to Zenith. It's not like Zenith is some no-name nobody. People really are paying attention to Zenith, and that's a good thing. Good job, Zenith, but all we ask is for you to be consistent, congruent, and honest. But yeah, that's my watch rant. This was, you know, not a lot of yelling, not a lot of jokes, but it's something very serious, and I think you guys should know about it, and we should all be, you know, holding people accountable. So this, it's kind of a bummer. I still like Zenith, but but I probably won't be buying one if the ones I look at online are very different than the ones I get in person. So yeah, again, special thanks to Merrick and the Watch Rotation podcast. Go check that out. Tell them I sent you. And thanks to you guys for making all this happen. We couldn't do any of this here. We can't do any watch rants. We can't do any watch reviews. Can't do anything at the Time Teller shop without you. So again, all of this, thanks to you guys. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this T3 watch rant. It is Friday, so enjoy your weekend. Whenever you're watching this, yeah, why not have a good day? It doesn't need to be Friday. It doesn't need to be Saturday. It could be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. There's a few days to choose from. But guys, just know that I love you. Thank you for all the support. And yeah, I will see you on the Saturday live stream. All right, guys, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon, watch the content, support the channel. There's a bunch of ways to do that. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. Like, comment, and subscribe. Always remember, I didn't invent time. I just tell it.